I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been.
Okay.
So if they ask you how I feel,
What's up?
I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been.
I am.
So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been.
That's right.
So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing.
How y'all doing, good people? On this Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, I am live for the first time on Bearing Down the Gridiron. It feels good to be live for once. And hey, we got a big one to talk about. We're talking about the Big Ten Conference. We already went through the ACC. We went through the Big 12. Now we're going to the Big Ten Conference. It's a lot of things to go about. We got continuing with our new realignment expansion in the Big Ten, with the West Coast schools now involved. Michigan has a new look because the new head coach, new quarterback, new running backs, new defense, everything new in Michigan. What does Ohio State got to offer? We're going to talk Big Ten. I'm looking forward to it. And who do I pick to having to win the Big Ten? Now, me and the media, we are 2 for 2 so far. I went with the media with the ACC and Florida State. I went with the media with the Big 12 and Utah, a newcomer. Do I go 3 for 3 with the media and what they see? We'll find out. But first, order of business. And thank y'all for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, or Facebook, or LinkedIn, thank you for watching. You can hear this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio after the show. And also, you can hear this episode on the Real Rise Radio Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12, right before week 0 kicks off. And I will let you know 2 of the games that's going to happen this weekend for week 0 for you to look at. All right. Also, shout out to 502 American Angel. This episode will be airing on that radio station on Friday, right after Shooting Lights Out. So, without further ado, let's get to our first segment, the 2-minute drill. And to begin our 2-minute drill, let's head to Oklahoma State, because Oklahoma State to wear QR code linked to NIL funds on helmets. This came out just a day after Mike Gundy was telling his players, stop asking for NIL money. Negotiations are done. We are not negotiating no more money. We are focusing on football. Then just a day later, Oklahoma State came up with the idea of putting QR codes on the team's helmet. The school announced Tuesday that the Cowboys will sport QR code on their helmets, linking to a donation page for the school's NIL fund. It is believed that this would be the first time that this happened in college football. The QR codes on the back of each helmet will be about 1.5 inches square. Or shall I say 1.5 square inch wide, long, stuff like that. The school said that while the code will not be visible for those attending the games in person, but it will be for those who are watching the game on television. They can use their phone to scan the QR code, and they'll be sent to the team's NIL page where they can donate and add value to the NIL. And those of you who don't know or don't remember what NIL stands for, name, image, and likeness, athletes in collegiate can get paid now. So something innovative from the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and interesting to see how this works out for them and what to make of this NIL thing. But there's a lot of things happen in college football, a lot of changes happening. See how this works for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Next up, we have Alabama agreeing to a record deal with GM Courtney Morgan. Now, we say a record deal. What is going on? What do you mean by record deal? Well, that's what's happening. Alabama football general manager Courtney Morgan has agreed to a new president-setting contract with the Crimson Tide following a summer approach from USC. Sources confirmed to ESPN on Monday night. Morgan will earn an average of $825,000 annually under the 3-year contract, a deal that bolsters his place as college football's highest paid front office figure. The new deal will be formally approved by the University of Alabama System Board of Trustees on Tuesday, but sources tell ESPN that the updated contract has been agreed upon for some time. Now we got GMs in college football making close to $1 million. They make more than $500,000, more than $750,000. We're talking $825,000 a year. And he has 3 years. So let's do some math. Let's do some math, shall we? So 825,000 times 3, $2,475,000 contract. That's what his contract is for 3 years. He's making more. He's almost making $2.5 million to be a general manager for the University of Alabama. And we all know Alabama's one of the main pillars of college football. So not very surprising, to say the least. But congratulations to Courtney Morgan on being the highest paid front office figure in college football. Congratulations. Jelon Daniels to start for Kansas in the season opener. He was the quarterback last year. He dealt with some injuries last year, even though Kansas was having a very fantastic season last year, one of their best seasons in quite some time. But he will be on the center at the beginning of the football season when Kansas hosts Lindenwood next week on Saturday. So congratulations to you. Keep it going. Whatness Mahan to miss football season with ACL tear. We've been seeing a lot of season-ending injuries and training camps in college football, also in the NFL as well. You hate to see another player have a season-ending injury when the season hasn't even started yet. Prayers go out to you. Hope for a full recovery, sir, and hope to see you next year for the Workers' Squad at night. And that's their starting linebacker. Those of you who don't know position, he playing starting linebacker. All right. 23 USC names longtime backup Miller Moss as the starting quarterback. Of course, we all know Caleb Williams was the starting quarterback last year. Did what he did, was the number 1 overall pick to Chicago Bears. So now USC had to replace him. And Lincoln Riley chose Miller Moss as his starting quarterback as they transition to the Big Ten, which we will cover in our next segment, okay? But Miller Moss, the starting quarterback for the USC Trojans. Texas transfer Malik Murphy lands starting QB job at Duke. He was the backup quarterback to Quentin Ernst for a minute, and you still have RT Manning on that roster. But Malik Murphy had got some playing time at Texas when Quentin Ernst was injured. Now he's taking the starting job over at Duke. Looking forward to see how he does in the ACC. Looking at Duke, see what Duke can do. They had a good season last year. One of the good seasons that they had in quite some time. So taking the reins and see what you do with the whole new coach, a whole new system over there in Duke University and whatnot. And that would do it for the 2-minute drill. Take our first commercial break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking Big Ten football. So if you out there in the Midwest, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Minnesota, we're talking about your conference next, right here on Bearing Down the Gridiron.
I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition,
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy, and now begins a future one of matrimony or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network, in association with Comey Media Incorporated, proudly present The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central.
Shop hats and official sports gear at Liz. Liz is the leader and #1 destination for hats, gears, and everything that moves you, making it the perfect shop for fans to find official sports hats, merchandise, and gear. Represent your team, your town, and your style with a snapback adjustable fitted hat or beanie from thousands of college and pro teams. Browse the very latest sports jerseys and t-shirts from the best teams out there. Liz has officially licensed professional and college sport team apparel and hats featuring the hottest brands and trends. Shop online or visit one of the 100 stores across the country. Locker Rooms by Liz.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets. Join Ryan McCarthy.
I became a Jets fan because Kermit the Frog was my favorite Muppet because he was green, and the Jets wore green. That's how I became a Jets fan.
And Dustin Henry.
ESPN is cashing all in on let's pay a few personalities and we'll just kind of fill in the gaps.
As they walk you through all of the world of sports from their perspective.
The Albany Empire, it's a literal circus.
No credentials required. Where, Ryan, say the tag.
Where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. On YouTube and where you can find all podcasts. Rams fans all around the world.
It's a beautiful thing to be a Rams fan right now. Stafford's back. We're going to see about Cup. And running back Kerryon Williams to return.
Lend me your ears, or should I say lend Playmaker your ears, as he breaks down week by week everything in the Los Angeles Rams canon.
Number 99, Aaron Donald. Can't wait for 2029 to come to know that you are going in the Hall of Fame, and it should be first ballot, no questions asked.
Join the Playmaker as he breaks down everything Los Angeles Rams style in Ramily Talk on the Playmakers Blog Network YouTube channel and where you can find podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bearing Down the Gridiron. And you did see the Liz commercial. I'm the one to go ahead and tell you right now, today, you can get free shipping on U.S. orders over $24 at Liz. Just using the promo code Liz24. That is LIDS24. Get free shipping on your order. That's over $25 with Liz. Just use the promo code Liz24. All right, you also saw the commercial for the Los Angeles Rams called Ramily Talk. Yep. For any Los Angeles Rams fans that's listening to this, Ramily Talk will be tomorrow, going through weeks 9 through 10 in our season preview. We already did our first 5 weeks, with the Rams having a week 6 bye week. So now we're going 7 to 10 on tomorrow. All right. But that is the pro football tomorrow. We're talking collegiate football here, and we're talking Big Ten football. Yes, that is right. We're talking Big Ten football. But we're talking the largest conference in college football, because the new teams have come in, as you can see here. You know your originals, the Indianas, the Illinois, the Iowas, the Marylands, the Michigans, the Michigan States, Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern, the Ohio State, the Penn State, the Purdue's, the Rutgers, and the Wisconsins. Those are the originals. But you added 4 more teams. What does this 14 conference of? We're talking Oregon. We're talking UCLA. We're talking USC. And we're talking Washington are now part of the Big Ten Conference moving forward. It's going to be an interesting one. Washington was just in the national championship game last year when they took the L to the Michigan Wolverines. You got the LA schools in here, and you got that team from Oregon inside here. The Ducks are part of it. Now, let's get to the notes here. As I said plenty of times, Michigan are your 2023 Big Ten champions and your 2023 national champions. The Michigan Wolverines. Jim Harbaugh has left. He is now coaching the Los Angeles Chargers as he's finally got what he wanted to be back in the NFL. Sharon Moore has taken over the reins. All right. Then that brings us to the Ohio State University. Favorite in quite some time to win the Big Ten championship now that Harbaugh is in the NFL. Michigan no longer has Blake Corum, who was drafted by the Los Angeles Rams. Good job, Rams. J.J. McCarthy, thoughts and prayers go out to you, who was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, but has a torn meniscus that took him out of his rookie year. So we pray for a full recovery for J.J. McCarthy, and we hope to see you on the NFL gridiron next year, sir, for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, a lot of change took place at that team from Michigan. So now Ryan Day at Ohio State, you're now the favorite to win it. Speaking of Michigan, they are picked 4th in the Big Ten media poll. And you already mentioned the West Coast schools moving in, the Oregons, the Washingtons, the UCLA, and the USCs coming in. Largest lead in college football, because the Big Ten now has 18 teams in there. 18. Okay, 18 teams are part of the Big Ten. No divisions. Top 2 teams will play for the Big Ten title. No more East and West. Whoever the top 2 seeds are in the standings will meet each other in Indianapolis for the Big Ten title. And the Big Ten also has new media partners with CBS and NBC. Big Ten is replacing the SEC on CBS time slot. So the 3:30 slot on CBS is now Big Ten games. And you have the prime time games for the Big Ten will be broadcasted on Peacock and NBC network. So you have those going on for you right there. So the Big Ten made some good moves. The Big Ten are doing some things. Largest league in college football. They have CBS and NBC, 2 of the local channels carrying weight. So should be interesting one to see. Now, how did the Big Ten media voted? Well, Ohio State picked number 1, the newcomer Oregon, number 2, Penn State 3, Michigan 4, Iowa 5, USC coming in at 6, Wisconsin 7, Nebraska 8, and rounding out the top half of the Big Ten is Rutgers at 9. So you got Rutgers ahead of Washington, UCLA, even Illinois, and Purdue. Interesting. So be on the lookout for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights this year. All right. Now, as I normally do, I picked the top 5, but this one I did the top 6. I didn't do Iowa. I substitute Iowa for USC because it's very interesting to see how USC schedule looks out. But the number 1 team favorite to win the Big Ten is the Ohio State Buckeyes. Their first key game is September 28th when they go to East Lansing to take on the Michigan State Spartans, because we don't know how Michigan State is going to look after everything they went through last year and the year before that. So we're going to pay attention to that game just to see how the green and white look in late September. Then the week after that, they host Iowa, who is in the top 5 in pitching and are in the top 5. Actually, they are ranked 25th in the preseason polls. Then the October 12th, The trip out to Oregon. Circle that on your schedule. Circle that on your calendar. Circle that on your calendar. October 12th, Ohio State at Oregon. That's the game to watch. Then October 26th, you face Nebraska. Always an interesting game between Ohio State and Nebraska. Then November 2nd, they go to Happy Valley to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Well, James Franklin will make it out for once. Say that question when I get to Penn State. And then finally, it's the game. And it's going to be at the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio, November 30th, Thanksgiving weekend. The game that could determine who's go to the Big Ten Championship and who doesn't, even though there's no divisions. Would it be Michigan or would it be Ohio State down in the Horseshoe? All right, that's the number one team on the Big Ten media poll. The number two team in the Big Ten media is the newcomer of the Oregon Ducks, okay? Dan Lanning is still doing a good job with them Ducks. Just need him to get over the hump, but first year in the Big Ten, I'm looking forward to this one. We're kicking it off on the 7th with a visit by Boise State. And those of you who know your history of college football, in recent memories, Oregon and Boise State got a little rivalry going on here. We're talking Big Ten Mountain West mashup, but it used to be Pac-12 Mountain West mashup. Now it's Big Ten Mountain West mashup. Looking forward to see how Oregon looks coming out the gate against a Boise State team who knows how to play against Oregon. Then the following week, it's the Oregon Classic, formerly known as the Civil War. Change it to the Oregon Classic. Week 2, right out the gate, Oregon Classic. Wow. I didn't expect that. I'm happy that they're keeping the interstate rivalry going on, but week 2, good gracious. Just right out the gate, week 2. All right. And it's at Corvallis, by the way, so that's a road game for the Oregon Ducks. So, and then their first Big Ten game will be September 28th when they play at UCLA. The old Pac-12 rivalries renewed themselves as Big Ten Conference rivals. Now, out at Pasadena, California, at the Rose Bowl. Should be a fun one to watch. And also, we already talked about it. October 12th, when the Oregon Ducks host the Ohio State Buckeyes. Then after that, October 18th, they go to Purdue. Even though the Big Ten media has Purdue picked last in the Big Ten, never sleep on going to Purdue. Now, if that game has to be a primetime game, definitely don't sleep on that game, because those of you who have watched football and know your football, especially collegiate football, if there's a primetime game at Purdue, be on the lookout, especially if you're ranked in the top 10, top 5, which Oregon most likely will be, depending on how they do against Ohio State the week before. Then November 2nd, they go to the Big House. They go to Ann Arbor. They take on the Michigan Wolverines. That should be a fun one to watch as well. Like I said, circle October 12th versus Ohio State. Circle November 2nd against Michigan, at Michigan. Should be a fun one. And then 2 weeks later, on November 16th, they go to Wisconsin. It's not an easy trip coming from the West Coast out to Wisconsin in mid-November. And then they host Washington to end the season, which is going to be a fun one to watch, because Oregon and Washington always been a good game to watch. All right. That's Oregon. Let's go to Penn State. James Franklin. James Franklin has not reached that top mountain yet, because somehow, some way, he finds a way to get beat by Ohio State and Michigan, and is never there at the end. Okay. Let's see with the new look Big Ten, how that changes for him. But right out the gate, to end the month of August, first game of the week, they go to West Virginia. A little Big 10, Big 12 action. Looking forward to that. Then their next key game will be October 5th when they host UCLA. The week after that, they're going from hosting UCLA to going to USC. So you host one LA team at home, then you go to the LA team. So they be going to the Coliseum October 12th. Same week as Oregon and Ohio State go at it. October 26th, they at Wisconsin. That's an interesting game because he's going to Wisconsin. November 2nd, hosting Ohio State. Looking forward to that one. There's always a good game. Can James Franklin finally get one over Ohio State? Can he finally get one? You're home. You have a home game. Can you finally break through against Ryan Day at Ohio State? Look what it did for Jim Harbaugh when he finally broke through. He was playing for national championships. He was in the CFP playoffs, and he finally actually won the national championship. Can you finally break through Ohio State? James Franklin. Then you have the very next week, you're hosting Washington. That's a long trip for Washington from Washington to Pennsylvania. That's a long trip. We'll know how they'll feel about that. Before you go to Purdue on November 16th, and then you go to Minnesota November 23rd. By the way, there will be no Michigan Penn State games this year. So they dodged that bullet. Speaking of Michigan, let's go to Michigan. Woo! September 7th. Now they open the season against Fresno State, by the way, if you didn't know. But we're talking key games. We're talking key games. We're not looking at the whole entire schedule. We're talking key games. And week 2 at the Big House, here come the Texas Longhorns. Big Ten SEC matchup. And those of you who don't know, yes, Texas Longhorns are part of the SEC, which I'll be previewing next week going into week 1. Oh, that's the game to watch there. Texas at Michigan. Oh boy, no. September 7th. I'm looking forward to that game. Definitely looking forward to that game. All right. Then they host USC. And if you kind of just look to the right of you when you see USC, that's USC's first Big Ten game, by the way. So we're going to relate that when I get to USC. That's why I put them on here. All right. After they finish hosting USA, their next key game comes in October 5th when they go to Washington. That's a bit of a long trip for the Michigan Wolverines going out to Seattle, Washington to face off with the Washington Huskies. So look and see how Moore handles that trip out there. And then it's the annual in-state rivalry. I believe it's the Paul Bunyan Jug, if I remember correctly, between Michigan and Michigan State. That will be in Ann Arbor, home of the Wolverines. All right. Then, obviously, we talked about it as they host Oregon November 2nd. That's the game to watch on that day. That's definitely a game to watch. Before then, and then after that, it's the game, November 30th, Thanksgiving week, against, Ohio State at the Horseshoe. That's another game to look forward to on that one. But that's Michigan key schedule. Key schedule. Remember, I'm talking key games here. Now, they tie because key games. Now, let's get to USC. All right. They open up the month of September 1st, in Las Vegas against the LSU Tigers. Another Big Ten ACC game. This one would be on neutral site, by the way. It's in Las Vegas, home of the Raiders, Allegiant Stadium. And then their first Big Ten game, September 21st, when they go to the Big House, as we just mentioned, and they take on the Michigan Wolverines. Then the week after, they host the Wisconsin Badgers. Then the week after that, they go to Minnesota before they come home the week after that to face off with Penn State. They go to Washington, they go to UCLA, and they finish off the season hosting Notre Dame. That's a pretty interesting schedule for the USC chosen in their first year in the Big Ten. You're talking LSU on your schedule. You got a game against Michigan. You got Penn State. You got to go to Washington. You got to go to UCLA, which is a rivalry game. And you're hosting Notre Dame to end the season. It's a pretty interesting schedule. Very interesting schedule here. Now, to be fair, USC is picked 6th. All right? Not 5th. I used to do the top 5. So, since I didn't put Iowa up here, let's go through Iowa's schedule where I got it right here in front of me on the phone. Their first key game is September 7th. Week 2 of the season. It's the Cy-Hawk Trophy game where Iowa State heads to Iowa to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. All right. Their next key game would be on the 21st of September when they go to Minnesota. The week after that, they head to Ohio State in the Horseshoe October 5th. Then they come home October 12th to host the Washington Huskies. Then November 2nd, they host in Wisconsin. You got to like that. They head to LA to take on the USC Bruins on November 8th. It happens to be my birthday, by the way. So on my birthday, I was going to the Rose Bowl to face off with the Bruins. That should be an interesting game, and it's on a Friday too. And then they they go to Maryland on the 23rd, and then Thanksgiving week they have Nebraska at home on a Friday. So it's gonna be an interesting way to see how these 6 teams, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Iowa, and USC fare in this newly looked Big Ten conference, which top 2 teams will face off in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship, which will solidify their spot in the now new 12-team college football playoffs. Because if you win your conference, you're automatically in. Automatically in. All right. Now remember, the Big Ten media people, they picked Ohio State to win. They got Ryan Day winning the Big Ten conference. The previous 2 conferences that I previewed, I went with the media. They picked Florida State. I went with Florida State. They went with Utah. I picked Utah. Do I go with Ohio State to win the Big Ten conference? No, I do not. I'm going with the Oregon Ducks. I'm picking Oregon to walk into the Big Ten conference. Let it be known that we are part of the Big Ten conference, and this is our conference now, and we're taking control of it since we don't believe Michigan is going to keep it because Harbaugh's no longer there. Ryan Day. Consequently, if Ryan Day does not win the Big Ten conference, does he get fired? Does he get fired? That's a question. By me picking picking Oregon, and Oregon does come out on top of the Big Ten, what kind of damage does that does to Ryan Day? Because for most people, Ryan Day, this is your year. This should be your year. You don't have Harbaugh at Michigan no more. You don't have to deal with Blake Corum at Michigan anymore. That was your biggest obstacle because before you, Harbaugh couldn't beat Ohio State to save his life. Then all of a sudden, you take over and you start beating Ohio State. He even ended up winning the national championship out of it. But if Oregon walks in here and wins the Big Ten, how will people of the state of Ohio on the campus of Ohio State University, how would they look at Ryan Day then? I have to ask that question because I'm picking Oregon to walk in and take over. I have to ask. That's just a question to really think about. It's a question to think about. Seriously. I'm picking Oregon. So unlike the Big Ten media, I picked against them. As you see here. Now Oregon is now on here. As you see, I picked Florida State to win the ACC. I picked Utah to win the Big 12. And now you have Oregon in here for the Big 10. All right. That's how I feel. That's how I see it. I could be wrong. I have been wrong before. Hey, I picked Clemson last year and Florida State won it. I picked Oklahoma to win the Big 12 going out. Texas was the one that did it. Hey, I could be wrong. Who knows? I could be wrong. All right. But we're going to take our second break here. And then when we come back, quick look at week 0. A couple of games I want you to look at when it comes to week 0 before we get ready for the real week, which is the following week. All right. We'll be back.
Porter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered a winner, and he was the darling of all darlings
for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text. Delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels.
Get mounts of entertainment with Paramount Plus. Stream new movies such as Mean Girls, Transformers: Rise of the Beast, and Good Burger 2 with Paramount Plus. Stream live sports such as the UEFA Champions League, the NFL on CBS, the PGA Tour, and March Madness. Catch hit CBS shows such as Fire Country, Ghost, NCIS, and more. But also catch exclusive originals for Paramount Plus such as Special Ops Lioness, The Famous Stallones, and the hit series Halo. The new streaming home of Showtime. Watch Showtime original series and movies when you sign up with Paramount Plus with Showtime. Make it a fun, action-packed adventure for the whole family and create kid-friendly profiles for the little ones. So much to stream with Paramount Plus with over 45,000 full episodes from BET, CBS, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, and more. Paramount Plus plan starts at $5.99, but if you subscribe today, you'll get a free trial. Paramount Plus, mountains of entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Into the Net FC.
Kylian Mbappe just all of a sudden finally understood his role, and I think he finally understood that everything Kylian Mbappe has accomplished already, there is still a hell of a lot waiting for him in the future. Kylian Mbappe is only 24 years old. He has accomplished so much, and you know what? Kylian Mbappe has not even reached his prime. Finally seeing, the Marcus Rashford we have been hoping for such a long time, But, this game, after everything Manchester United has been, doing lately, this was actually the ultimate test, to see if Manchester United, honestly was all of a sudden for real.
I explained this. The United States, maybe they have to suffer this loss as a lesson to learn to prepare for the future. Because 4 years from now, the World Cup is in not one, not two, but 3 countries. The United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. Into the Net FC is available on all streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and YouTube.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bearing Down the Gridiron here as we get ready to close the show out for today. I want y'all to know, yet again, if you're watching this live, you are watching it live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Appreciate you. Thankful for you. When you listen to this on audio, it'll be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and wherever else you listen to your podcast. And for those who are listening to radio station, this episode will be airing on 512 American Angel Friday nights, right after Shooting Lights Out. And then you can listen to this on the Real Rise Radio Saturday mornings, 11 a.m., right before kickoff. So on the Real Rise Radio on Saturdays, you'll get Bearing Down the Gridiron an hour before kickoff. It's going to lead you right into the kickoff. And speaking of which, we can test that out this week because it is week 0, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking week 0, the week where some teams get an extra week, like Hawaii, because they play all the way out there, on the West Coast. Not even on the West Coast, they actually passed the West Coast. But yeah, we got week 0 games, but there's 2 games in particular that I want y'all to pay attention to. First of all, the first game, we are going to, we are heading to Dublin, Ireland, ladies and gentlemen. Not only us are heading to Dublin, Ireland, we are also, College Game Day is also heading to Dublin, Ireland as well, because to kick off the college football season, we have the Florida State Seminoles taking on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. An ACC matchup in Dublin, Ireland. Should be an interesting one. Listen to the Pat McAfee show earlier. It started out as a 13.5 favorite for Florida State and then dropped down to 10.5. That's a whole 3 points. So I'm interested in seeing what are they seeing from what are they interested in seeing from Georgia Tech that makes them think that Florida State is not going to destroy these boys. That's what I want to know. Because I do feel like, and I do believe that Florida State is going to destroy these boys. I know they bringing most of their starters back from on offense if you're a Yellow Jacket, but we is talking about Florida State here. We is talking about a team that is pissed off because they went undefeated and didn't make the college football playoffs. They chose one loss Alabama over them. They chose one loss Texas over them. And they have a great, yes, they have a great. For sure they have a great. I said it last year when I said it. They had a great. But I understood what the college football playoff community was looking for. And the fact that they didn't have Jordan Travis for the final parts of the season, they didn't look the same. And I was like, that's the simple fact that they don't have Jordan Travis. That's going to hurt them in the college football playoff committee. And they did. People want to get mad at me, but I told you what the playoff committee was going to do. Now, this is a whole new year. There's no Jordan Travis. Mike Noel had a restock on his team. For what I heard and saw, he did a very good job. Now that year 3 is over and you go into year 4, now the expectations are at a set standard for Mike Noel. You need to win the ACC. You need to make the college football playoffs. Then we go from there. You won the ACC last year. You just didn't make the college football playoffs. Now there's no question. If you win the ACC, you will be in the college football playoffs because the winners of the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC are automatically in the college football playoffs. Now, depending on the order, depends on how good you do in your regular season. You will be the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed, the 4 seed. So that's something to look forward to. But Florida State should beat the brakes off Georgia Tech. But they could have that first game jitters, and they could run into some trouble with Georgia Tech. It is the first game out the gate. Now, let me not be so hard. It is the first game out the gate, so we got to see what we're looking like. Even though I'm not a Florida State fan, I can't stand Florida State. But if I'm being objective and honest, Florida State should win this game. All right, so that's 12 p.m. on ESPN right after college game day. Right after you listen to this episode, you should be able to watch Florida State, Georgia Tech on ESPN out in Dublin, Ireland. The other game I want y'all to pay attention to will be later on tonight, this Saturday night. CBS Sports Network, we have an ACC Mountain West matchup between the SMU Mustangs and the Nevada Wolfpacks. All right. SMU first game as a ACC team will be on the road in the state of Nevada to take on the Nevada Wolfpacks. I say we look forward to this game because let's see how SMU looks. Let's see how they look. This should be a game they should win. They should win this game, but it is the first game and they're in a new conference. So I don't know how SMU is going to look, how they're going to feel when they have that ACC on their jersey instead of the American on their jersey. They are now Atlantic Coast Conference team. So I'm looking forward to that game as well. Those are the 2 games that I want you to look at, okay? Those are just the 2 games I want you to look at. Florida State, Georgia Tech out in Dublin, Ireland. And then that night at 8 p.m. on CBS Sports Network, SMU, first game as an ACC team. All right, they are at Nevada. They are taking on the Wolfpack. All right? Those are the 2 games I want you to look at. That's just the 2 games I want you to look at. And then next week is the official week. It's week 1 of the season. All types of games and stuff to look forward to. And I will give you a new variety of what I'm doing. All right? Just give you a heads up. I'm no longer doing 6 games and an extra point. I'm doing something different. So you won't be seeing polls on social media saying, what is the game that you're looking forward to the most that's going to be added to the slate? We're not doing that. We're doing something different. Okay. What I will say is I'm gonna try this out. Whatever is the game of the week, I'm gonna put the poll up and I'm gonna see what the fans are of college football, what the fans who are listening to this show, who you think will win the game of the week. And I will let you know how the vote goes. I'm gonna try that out, see how that goes. But yeah. You'll see next week how many games I'm picking. And I'm going to keep track. There's no extra points, no nothing. You're going to see the difference. But before I get to week 1, There's one conference left to preview. The Southeastern Conference. OU and Texas are finally part of the Southeastern Conference. Georgia is the number one team in the land, despite not being able to go back-to-back national champions. Alabama has a new coach because Nick Saban's no longer there. LSU looks prime and ready. And then Florida. This is year 3 of the Billy Napier year. And yet, you have the schedule of death. Yes, as a Gator fan, I will be talking about my Gators. Actually, I'm going through that schedule. I'm going to show you the schedule of death for the Florida Gators. In a year that is year 3 for Billy Napier, and to most people, Billy Napier's on a hot seat just like Ryan Day is. So, yes, previewing the SEC next week, and then giving you my picks for week 1 of the college football season. So with that being said, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for liking, subscribing, doing whatever the case may be, because we are up to 200 subscribers on YouTube. I'm thankful for that. It's been a slow growth, but it's growth nonetheless. I will take every growth that I can get. But if you listen to this, share this out with your friends. Share this out with your enemies. Okay? They might enjoy what I'm doing here. They might want to see what I'm doing, and they want to keep up with it. Because when I pick these games, y'all going to probably want to keep up with it, because this I'm picking more than 6 this time. Well, more than 7, because I'm not doing the extra point either. But I'm picking more than 7. Just know that. All right? So without further ado, down in the Playmaker, shout out to my brother. Shout out to Weir for the intro, for the music, for the intro and the outro. Also for the intro and outro for shooting the lights out. Shout out to my brother. Got to give him love. Got to give him love. Because without him, that I won't have these 5 intros that people love so much. Until next week. And I might have some guests. Because it is the Southeastern Conference, by the way. I might have some guests. We'll see about that. But until then, enjoy your week. Enjoy week 0. Enjoy the first college football game day Saturday morning. And I'll see you next week. I'll see you next Wednesday right here. Same time, same place. Previewing the SEC and looking at week 1 of the college football regular season. Deuces.